And it looks like we are live. What is up, everyone? Appreciate everyone tuning in today. I know people are still kind of coming in. We have some special guests on today's stream. We're going to be talking what's next for PTGC, what's happened so far for PTGC. And for those that don't know, PTGC recently just hit an all-time high. It's still kind of hovering around that. It flipped Teddy Bear for being the #1 meme coin on Pulsechain. So, I mean, we got a lot to talk about. So we got Coach, we have a 369 on here. So let's go ahead and bring them on. Coach, what is going on, man? 369, how are you? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear. Thank you for having us, by the way. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, dude, we're going to wait for some more people to come in, but man, we're not going to get into the market at all. We're not going to really talk about the market coach or anything like that. But what is your sentiment on the overall just feeling? Like you can just feel the bullishness, not just on Pulse Chain, but just crypto as a whole, man. Bitcoin running up to 64K. It had a little bit of retracement to 59, and then it went back up over 61K. You know what I mean? So this is great to see. Great to see. And this is before the halving. And so a lot of people are saying this could be a potential super cycle. You know what I mean?
And kind of like just to piggyback on that kind of like consensus, I've been bullish since July. So people's mind frames might be different type of
Right.
realities, but like when it comes to like what we're seeing in Bitcoin with the ETFs and just in my personal opinion, the corruption of centralized currencies or like the fiat currency and all that kind of stuff. So people are actually waking up to the reality of inflation. To beat inflation, what are the assets? What are the things to actually put your energy and all that kind of stuff? So I think people are just waking up to the world of just like BS, and the grays are here to save the world and type of thing, with the different kind of consensus to it.
For sure.
What a
For sure.
currency possibly could be. But
Yeah. We got a lot to unpack. I'm gonna go through a couple of the comments here real quick, and then we're gonna dive right on into it. We got Charles, do your own research. He says PTGC Allen, PTGC Alien Burn. The whole ecosystem are sending. PTGC will soon be at 100 million, then $1 billion market cap, and then more. It's brilliant. So, I mean, as we know, PTGC has a super strong community. A lot of people believe in it. As we know, when it first came out, not everyone had that belief as they do now. And so it's nice to kind of see, that sentiment turn around. Would you agree, Coach?
yeah, 100%. 369 or TG Zen, what do you feel about that question?
Yeah. Obviously, as our machine proves itself, people are starting to understand it more and more. So when this idea first came about, it was a new idea in crypto, and it hadn't really been done to like this extent. So I think at the beginning, people were still looking at it like, is this going to work? But since the machine has proven itself to actually do what the idea was, people are becoming more bullish on it, and they're starting to understand the machine better. They understand that it's a formula. They understand the web better. And now the best thing about it is the last piece of the formula is Pulsechain and all the blue chips of Pulsechain moving up in value, and us obviously making money off that volatility of them rising up and moving up and down and every which way possible. And all that comes back to PTGC and helps the PTGC ecosystem. So yeah, it's good to see people just recognizing what's here and starting to become more bullish on the project.
For sure, for sure. And talking about the machine, let's kind of dive into that for people that may not know exactly what PTGC is. Let's kind of dive into that. Who wants to kind of take it away?
I'll talk about it,
Yeah.
and then Coach can then nitpick and maybe add to what I have to say a little bit. So when I say the machine, pretty much PTGC is a token that relies on volume. And in the past, when there's volume-based tokens that pay out rewards, that burn the token, that buy and burn the token, that add to LP, you need new users to come in to create more volume for the token that adds to the ecosystem. So when I say machine, behind PTGC, there's a lot of moving parts that add to the volume. The biggest one is we have over 20 LP pools that are quite large that are constantly moving. So on PulseChain in particular, there's a ton of AMM bots, or R bots as most people understand them, that are constantly fixing the price between multiple LP pools. So when we recognized this, we realized that we could tie a bunch of LP pools to PTGC, and as the PulseChain market moves around us, so as PulseChain goes up, as Hex goes up, as PulseX goes down, as incentive token goes up, these are all moving levers that create price differences in the PTGC price. And then the arbitrage bots come in and fix the price between all our other LP pools, which adds to the volume. And this is important because when you're a volume-based token, if you can rely on our bots, pretty much rely on machines instead of users, you become less reliant on human emotions and more reliant on machines. And ultimately, that's the way this whole world is going with AI, with robots, etc. So that was kind of the idea behind PTGC.
Okay. So now that you kind of know the idea behind it, kind of talk about kind of the details as a new potential investor that's, looking at this as getting into, what would kind of be like, not necessarily, well, I guess so. What would be like your elevator pitch to someone new that now kind of understands the machine? How would you go into it, as far as the details from that perspective?
So the first thing is we're built on top of the most undervalued blockchain in all of crypto. So on top of that, we pretty much are on a really undervalued blockchain that only has potential, or mostly only has potential, to move up in price. And when you look at that, we're tied to all the blue chips on PulseChain. So when you are holding PTGC, you actually are holding a share of every single one of these blue chips, but there's an addition to that. Every time one of these blue chips move, if it's up in price or down in price, that volatility actually gets taxed by PTGC and then moved into the PTGC LPs pools, burn address, and into staking rewards for the PTGC holders. So when you hold PTGC, you're actually holding a percentage of all these blue chips, but you also are making money off of the volatility of all these blue chips as well.
And that's also because of the 1% that goes back to stakers and just normal holders as well, correct?
Yeah, so there's a 2% of the tax is going to rewards, 1% to all holders, and 1% to stakers. So that's when you hold PTGC, you're actually making more PTGC just by staying in the ecosystem.
Nice. And I know Coach has some stuff he wants to show as well. For everyone that's still tuning in, be sure to hit that like button, share it out on either X or YouTube if you can. Really helps us out. And then also, if you guys are looking for any of the socials, the website, the Telegram, the Twitter page, those are all down in the description. So definitely check out PTGC if you have further questions as well. Coach, I know you had something you want to show us. I know you kind of wanted to go into the weeds a little bit, kind of breaking down numbers and things of that nature. What you got for us, man?
Yeah. 100%. So sharing my screen, perfect. So as you can see, just with the calibration of this morning, I actually went through the numbers and all that kind of information in all the liquidity pools. So in the last 7 days, as you can see, there was about almost $1 million of volume in just the one of our pools, which is the V1 pool. So if you take a look at all the pools, I'm not going to go down the numbers, but another like kind of elevator pitch that I kind of like, Dex tools, don't be doing this to me right now. But like as you can see there, when we say blue chips, these are the blue chips that we're talking about. Teddy bear. So we talked about like we just surpassed the #1 meme coin. But as you can see, bears and aliens are friends. at the end of the day. So that's the thing. So like when we moon, we try to help moon bear. If bear moons, bear helps us pull the track. But another type of measure where people can like really kind of like think about it. This is like a phrase of to basically understand. It's not exactly this terminology. I'm just giving it a beautiful example in the real world of life. So if you was to say, because what I'm trying to get is kind of like a ETF or a leverage play on Pulsechain. So let's just say that you wanted to stake and you're wanting more hex. You have that opportunity to go into that pool. As you can see, that liquidity is pretty thick as well. It would say that you had like 5 miners. Okay, one of the miners you're compounding more PTGC. You have another miner that you wanted more hex, another miner that you wanted more teddy bear, more Pulsex. You have that capabilities and opportunities to do so. If you think about it, it's just when it comes to like being like a pulse validator, I think PTGC is actually winning when it comes to actually with that APY to all the holders and stakers of PTGC itself. So those are a little bit more weeds, kind of like a little elevator pitch on that kind of notion.
Before you continue, real quick, Coach, something that you said. We have Donnie. He says, "What do you mean by miners?"
Miners. So when I say miners, so I'm phrasing like staking. When we're staking, it has the same kind of annotation because you're staking, and instead, and I quote unquote, you're mining. You're basically, when you're thinking about hex, when you're staking your hex gets burnt away from existence. If you have your PTGC staked, you're basically doing the same kind of rhymingness of what hex does. So basically holding up the price, basically. But as you're holding up the price, it's a miner that you keep on getting more and more PTGC. But instead of a miner that gives you inflation, like TitanX, Zen, there's other protocols that give out that inflation incentive. With PTGC, it is 1,000. It's like 100% different. When it comes to like the miner, it's coming from the volume. It's hyper deflationary. There's no inflation whatsoever. So that's why you just see what is this called again? What's the word? Hockey sticks. Let's get it. But yeah, that's what I would say to those kind of things right now. I'm gonna stop sharing.
I got you. So yeah, so PTGC in the whole is, and the video I put out on it, man, it has a lot of functions to it. Not only is it a meme token, but it's deflationary. It gives you passive income. On top of it having an entire ecosystem that supports it within, which is the amplifier tokens, which I think, we don't have to talk about each individual one, but kind of talk about how those amplifiers, supports PTGC and how it helps, solidify that floor price as we move up. Can you guys kind of, talk about that a little bit? Because we've kind of seen some of that happen as the price have moved up. So, talk about how those amplifiers, move into PTGC, how they support PTGC.
369, you got this.
Yeah, so
so I'll go down in the weeds about it. So yeah,
so one of the main things is when you provide liquidity between two assets, they actually move together. So when we're tied with Pulse, when Pulse goes on a big run, Pulse is automatically going to pull PTGC up with it. And that goes with Teddy. That's why we have a big pair with Teddy, is when Teddy goes on big runs, we get pulled up with it, and so on and so forth. So since we have such large ties with Burn, Liquid, 808, Energy, Alien. Anytime one of those tokens goes on a huge run, it actually increases the price of PTGC, and there's such large liquidity pools with them, there actually becomes less of the amplifier in that pool and more of PTGC in that pool. So it's actually sucking PTGC into those smart contracts, those LP pools, and taking PTGC off the market and putting it into LP pools. But on the other side of that, all these amplifiers actually have their own individual webs that they're getting their own individual volume from, and they have all their own individual tokenomics with also tokenomics that benefit PTGC as well. So like PTGC is at like the end of a funnel, and there's just all these mechanisms that are actually funneling in value to back PTGC. And this is just going to constantly happen forever because all these LP pools are burned. They're just all decentralized smart contracts. So these amplifiers just are constantly bettering the price of PTGC. And then they also have their own little twist of tokenomics too to help better the price of themselves as well.
Yeah, and that's also because each time one of those amplifiers is purchased or sold, some of that is going towards PTGC, rather it's buying or burning, or rather that's going towards, an LP pair.
Yeah, 100%. Each one of them has their own little twist to it. So you can kind of look at each one and maybe pick which one you think's cool or which one you think you like. Like for an example, Burn, there's a 3% tax that just buys and burns Burn. So if you really think like the Burn function is cool, you might be attracted to that one in particular. But then we also have a Liquid token that has 4% of that tax adding to LP. So if you think liquidity is the most important thing in the token, you might be attracted to the Liquid token. So they all kind of have their own little twist, but at the end of the day, they're all meant to help the main token, which is PTGC.
Right. And so right now, we can see PTGC is sitting around 27.4. And some people say, what's the end goal for PTGC? And the end goal is to never stop. The end goal, of course, is to push this thing as high as it can go. But do you guys have anything else potentially in the pipeline that you guys could leak to the audience, potentially that's somewhat in the pipeline? I see Coach's face right there like, dang it, why did you ask that? I got to ask, man. I got to try to get any alpha I can. So whoever want to take that away, Coach at 369. Before we do, though, we got a super chat here. Got to show some love. We got 𝗥𝗔𝗓𝗏 with $100 super chat. He said, Mike, welcome to the best project on the best blockchain in crypto. Appreciate you. PTGC #PulseChain, man. That is what's up. But man, can you guys share anything, with us that maybe the community don't know?
Yeah, I definitely won't share anything. At the end of the day, PTGC is a fully finished product.
Yeah.
And anything that comes about in the future is it just comes about. There's no promises of anything. It's fully decentralized. And the machine's doing what it's doing. And obviously we have goals of where it's going to go. We believe we built the project in the most ethical ways as we could, to where every reward that's paid out is actually also backed by more PLS going into the LP pool. So there's never going to be unrealistic rewards paid out that has to come from price down, pretty much down pressure to the price. So we believe we've tracked, honestly, I've looked into hundreds of projects and I tried to pull from every single project the best information I could and put that all into one ecosystem. And that's what the goal of PTGC is. So as of right now, there isn't anything I want to say is in the pipeline, because it's a fully done project. It's fully decentralized. It's on the blockchain, and it's doing what it's doing.
Well said. Well said. Love the confidence. Love the confidence. And we got a question here. Somebody asks, and I just want to show them. He says, how new is the project, and what's it about? What's the end goal? And that's kind of why I asked you that question, 369, regarding is there anything, you know, coming up down the pipeline or anything like that. But you guys haven't been around that long, and you've already been able to crush it so far. As you can see, they launched October 11th of last year. So what's that? November, December, what, 4 months, going on 5 months, give or take, that you guys have been around.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So-
let me.
Well, go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I'll speak to like that point. What's the end game? What's the end goal? The end goal is being we're going to be in the firmament. We're going to stay there when we're never going to come down. So, and then also just think about I'm very big on numerology, and just understand that, understand the numbers, understand what the power of like the number 22, a master builder or something like that. I don't know. That's your alpha. That's yours. But you never know. No expectations. But it's like at the end of the day, it's 100% uptime. If anybody can interact with the contract through the blockchain itself, anybody can make their own front end. So it kind of sounds like, oh man, do I sound like Richard Hart or something like that? Because honestly, like with 360, or I call him TGZ, but with TGZ, like literally, like all these different ideas came from different spectrums with Hex and other kind of like protocols or tokens or meme coins. So it's just like it's a finished product. It's renounced. Literally, like we can say there's a the founder, TGZ, but at the end of the day, everybody who's holding, everybody who's staking, you are a part of the decentralized autonomous organization. So,
yeah. And so one thing I want to talk about too, Coach, is the fact that and I just kind of lost my train of thought. There was something you said I wanted to piggyback off of. It'll come back to me.
Directly from the blockchain. 100% uptime.
No, it was about when you said Richard Hart and kind of when we were talking about Hart's law. So I kind of want to go into that just a little bit for, you know, people that don't know. And 369 was kind of talking about it, how when two assets are paired together, it drags the other one up, right? And in a sense, that's what makes PTGC so strong. And as 369 was talking about earlier, is when you hold PTGC, you're basically kind of getting some of that exposure to some of the top projects in the space, like a Pulse, like a Teddy Bear, a PulseX, a Hex, etc. Right. And so I kind of wanted to just, you know, talk about that a little bit as well for people that may not have known, because, you know, PTGC isn't a project you can just kind of really talk about for 5 minutes. It has a lot of moving pieces. And so I really wanted to make sure people understood how that works, the Hart's law, and kind of like the whole machine behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll touch base on it a little bit. So, yeah, one of the, I guess the main things about Hart's law is everything that's heavily bonded together moves together. So if PLS moves up in price, it's going to pull PTGC up in price. If PLS moves down in price, it's going to move PTGC down in price. The benefit of when we launched is we actually launched PTGC at the almost exact bottom of PLS. And if you think about it, from this point on, we all believe, since we all are heavy PulseChain believers, that PulseChain is going to mostly move up in price from this point on. And what that is going to do in turn is that's going to move up all of the blue chips of Pulse, Hex, PulseX, because everything's bonded to Pulse, and also going to move up PTGC as well. The benefit in my eyes of holding PTGC with these tokens is you're not only moving up in price with all these blue chips, but going back to with every up and down, because we all know a chart just doesn't just go up and to the right. There's days that pump, days that retrace, days that consolidate. Every single time one of these motions, these actions happen, there's a reaction. And that reaction is actually going into PTGC, and we're turning that reaction into a positive and making PTGC's price even stronger. If it's adding to LP, if it's rewarding stakers, and etc. But a lot of people, you're actually asking this, and so was that comment, like, what's still coming with PTGC? One of the things that, because people see our chart and it's obviously up right now, and they're like, oh, well, what else is there? Like, it's one of the better performing tokens on PulseChain. Like, we're looking for a retracement. The scary thing that I find to think about, or what I think about, is the main ingredient that is to this PTG formula actually hasn't been added in yet. And that's the pump of the blue chips on PulseChain. That's the main ingredient that is going to really send PTGC, and that ingredient hasn't even been added into this formula yet. It's kind of like when you drop a Mento in a Diet Coke where it just starts exploding. So once Richard Hart starts pumping, or just PulseChain starts pumping in general, that's the Mento dropping into the Coke. And when all that volume and all that volatility comes on the PulseChain, PTGC's established itself to really rake in a lot of money off of all that going on around us, on top of just moving up in price with the market in general, because of our really large LP pools that are burnt, that can just never be taken from the ecosystem.
Man, you just dropped a lot there. The playback will be available as well, guys. So if you came in late, don't worry about it. The playback will be available. So, Coach, man, it looks like you're cooking, man. What you got for us?
Yeah, it's this is kind of just because a lot of people are visual type of learners as well. So let's just talk about Hart's Law. And I am a very big advocate about this. I've been talking about it since July when it comes to PDI and all that, since I was like one of the researchers digging into all that kind of stuff. But like, as you can see, like right now, it's just like, why is PTGC going down? And literally, there's the reason why. Let's look at that PTGC's chart. It's not going down as far. This is so funny. But it's just like, look at like Hex in correlation to that. See, as you can see, the same kind of candle. But as we can go to like our amplifiers, which is kind of look at that. It's kind of same kind of rhymingness of the whole ecosystem, as well. But at the same time, let's look at Teddy Bear. Teddy Bear is down 7%. So like, as we see these kind of volatilities, and the reason why PTGC is standing so firmly and strongly is because when you actually look at our amplifiers, so these amplifiers have 332K in liquidity with PTGC. Let's look at buy and burn. I went over this on my stream this morning too. $476,000. Liquid has 496, so that's $1.5 million in liquidity with PTGC. So when it comes down to like the if we do have a pullback with like just going back, PulseX going down 9%, and where we go, the last 24 hours, there's mechanisms in play. Also, we can talk about like the alien token as well, helping out the ecosystem, and we don't really need to get, or we can talk about that for a little bit, but it's just like, when it comes down to it, the ecosystem of the Gray's currency is, I don't know what the correct word is, because essentially once Pulse actually hits this number, what's the liquidity amount in this pool with PTGC? And then how much higher does PTGC actually go from here? So after we hit this point, where's the next metric? What's the next? What happens when Pulse hits a penny? What's the liquidity factor in there? having over almost 4 billion pulse in that liquidity pool? I don't know. You tell me. So it's just like there's so many mechanisms coming into play that people just don't understand the value. And when we say like what are the possibilities in the future? The possibilities are renounced. The code can never be changed. And as you can see, we'll see how big of a hockey stick really comes. Because like Richard Hart likes hockey sticks. Why can't we like hockey sticks?
Dude, it's been a crazy run, man. It's been a crazy run. It's been a crazy run. We're sitting at our 30-minute mark. Is there anything that maybe we didn't touch, or maybe a thought came to your mind that you would like to cover and let the audience know about PTGC, Coach, or 369?
2Gzen, take this one real quick, and then I'll finish.
Sorry, I missed the question. My dog started barking. What was the question?
You're good. We're getting ready to wrap up here. So I said, is there any last minute thoughts or anything that you want to go further into detail that maybe we didn't cover that you want to let the community know
of? I think we hit everything. Again, I just think it's important to look at not even only PTGC, but on PulseChain in general, the communities that are being benevolent, that are building, that are working hard, because we are running into a bull run. And I think it's important to take notice of which groups are building here, which communities are building here, and just come along for the ride. Because as of right now, all of these builders on PulseChain, we all have the same goal in mind, and it's for PulseChain to succeed. Because if PulseChain succeeds, these strong projects are going to succeed as well.
Well said, man. Well said. What you got, Coach?
Well, it's just, if you want updates about PTGC every single morning, 6:30 a.m. Pacific time, baby, where you get all the best PulseChain content live on my YouTube channel. So that's there. Also, just kind of like finish, is like there's other tools at our disposal as well. With like in the Grays game is another thing where it's like it's on a 3-day timer that people can grab a ticket to. Essentially, it's kind of like a 50-50 raffle that just, it's better than the Mega Million, because like, you're going to be getting more PTGC. Just 2-1 lucky winner. And then also it's burning the other part. So I think so far the game has burned $58,000 PTGC already. So and people are starting to understand the importance, not really importance, but having another way to, I don't know, have fun. And then we have our own Grays gear. Last night there was kind of like the Grays meetup in where I live in Southern California, which was actually pretty cool. All the guys, and we actually had people, or the guys who were in it, bring more people to like onboard and just like learn. And I think we're going to be doing that a little bit more in the future. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And the firmament awaits. I have a question. Why is it so hard to sell PTGC? I don't know.
My question is, when you purchased it, what slippage did you use? Because remember, PTGC has a 5% tax, so you need to be at 5.5 to 6%.
I know he's being funny. He's being sarcastic.
That went. So real quick, man, I want to show this real quick because people don't even know. PTGC October 11th of last year, so 4 to 5 months roughly, and look how much has already been burned of the token. And in my opinion, only more is going to be burned as we get deeper into this bull market. 8.9, almost 9% already. 2.5 million at the current value. So I don't think people
Yeah.
really understand when we say this is a deflationary token. It's not inflation. There's no inflation here, only deflationary, right? So not only does it have that working for it, but it has the Hart law working for it. It has the amplifiers working for it. It has the community working for it. Should I go on? Like,
Yeah,
dude, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think about that. Like, the volume hasn't even really came to PulseChain yet, and we've still already burned that much PTGC with a volume-based token. And like, people look at the chart and they like start to feel like they're not early. And like, I keep telling people, I'm like, this is just the beginning. This protocol is just warming up. We built this store, or whatever you want to call it, in a city that people haven't moved to yet. I like to compare it to like Austin, Texas 5 years ago. It's like we got this prime piece of real estate right in Austin, Texas, before everyone started wanting to move to Austin, Texas. Well, PulseChain, in my opinion, is that next Austin, Texas, and we'll have our storefront right on Main Street where everyone's going to be. And once that volume actually starts coming over here, it's just going to make our machine run better.
Man, well said, well said. For the people that want daily updates, head over to Coach's YouTube channel. He's always going live. He's always dropping some type of knowledge. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Hold on. Let's see. There we go. So yeah, follow Coach if you guys are in PTGC or want to know more about it. Alpha, all of that. He's always giving alpha. So it's Coach X4. Definitely give him a follow. He's always dropping knowledge on PTGC and everything. So give him a follow, man. So any last words? Any last words? We appreciate everyone tuning in. The playback will be available again. Also, the website, the Telegram, their Twitter, contract address, all of that is in the description. All right, so you don't have to go searching for it. Any last words, Coach?
Yeah, Mike. I just want to say just thank you again for letting us come up, stream in, and then come into the stream. And you know, it's a beautiful number, 28. It's a nice number. Number 28 is a good number, and yeah, numerology is.
Yeah, man. It'll
come in the
kick.
morning.
People will pick up sooner or later. People will pick up sooner or later. And the last thing I want to say, man, I just got to give another shout out to 𝗥𝗔𝗄𝗧𝗏, man. I love the name, by the way. He gave us $100 super chat. Welcome to the best project on the best blockchain in crypto. Appreciate you. PTGC #PulseChain. Shaka, man, appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate everyone tuning in, your comments and questions. We will see you guys on the next one.
Thanks, Mike.